Hi, welcome to SLP Stress Management, your place to manage stress, reduce your risk of burnout, and find more balance in and out of your life as an SLP. I am Jessie Andrix, and I am so excited to have you here today. So today I'm going to share with you The Joy of Movement by Kelly McGonigal. This book is all about moving and how it can bring more happiness and joy into your life. So, I don't think it's any secret that I love movement, specifically mindful movement. It just brings me so much joy and it feels freeing, like the worries and stress and chatter in my mind are gone and I'm just in the moment, present. And it also feels really good in my body, like not only to get out of my head and into my body, but to do something for it. Like it physically feels better and also feels better mentally. It has not always been this way for me. So when I was a kid, I really did not enjoy sports, specifically team sports, or anything athletic, or anything that involved like specific types of movement. I did enjoy riding my bike for fun. I enjoyed going to dance classes and having dance recitals like ballet, community center ballet and tap and jazz classes. And I even enjoyed going to the gym with my parents to try out like the cool machines and the group fitness exercise classes. And it was this joy that stuck with me years later as I started to incorporate more movement into my day, mostly for health reasons and prevention reasons, like preventing heart disease, diabetes, stroke, cancer, all of these things that we know movement is really good for. And when I was at the darkest and hardest times in my life, when I was in grad school for becoming an SLP, when I was working 5 days and nights a week while in grad school helping to manage a restaurant, when I was living by myself in a new place and trying to not only study but also emotionally deal with the fact that my future fiance, future husband was deployed for who knew how long at that point, and could, maybe hear from him once a month. Movement was there. It's what I left the field of speech therapy to pursue and to take on as my career. I trained in yoga, to teach mind-body fitness and group exercise classes. And even to this day, teaching a class is one of those times I feel the lightest, the most present, and absolutely the most alive and connected. So I was super excited to find the book, Joy of Movement by Kelly McGonigal, PhD. Simply the title had me hooked, like I was understood. And when I started reading, one of the very first paragraphs felt like somebody had finally put into words what I felt about teaching and moving. So I'm going to read that paragraph for you. And it's right in the introduction. I mean, it's really one of the very first things that I read while diving into this book. In the nearly 2 decades since teaching has become a source of tremendous joy and meaning. Over the years, I saw again and again how movement could shift a person's mood, how it could send someone back into the world renewed with hope. I got to witness how exercise could empower participants to sense their own strength or give them permission to let loose. As I taught individuals of all ages and varied physical abilities, I learned how movement could serve so many roles. It was a way to practice self-care, an opportunity to tackle challenges, and a place to make friends. And that just really hit me when I was reading it. It's something that I felt, but haven't always been able to put into words myself or really know what was going on with that. And so this book dives into that. It covers the science and personal stories behind why movement is so beneficial for us as humans and how we evolved to move. So Kelly McGonigal is a research-based psychologist and author and a lecturer at Stanford University. And she also has a book called The Upside of Stress, which, being in stress management coaching, is on my next to read list. She's also a group fitness instructor and a lover of movement. And her writing style, while it is based in research, it's really about storytelling. So this book is about the science behind movement and how it can improve your happiness. But it's less about just stating the research and more about exploring how the research shows up in real life for real people. So The Joy of Movement covers some of the physical benefits of movement, but it focuses on the mental and emotional benefits received from movement. It's a fairly shorter read with about 7 chapters and 200 pages. I do find that for me, nonfiction takes a little bit longer to read than fiction. There's more to process. It's usually higher level language. But I found this pretty easy to understand and to follow, although it did take me a little longer than I anticipated, but that was more due to interruptions from life and from having 2 very young kids. The 7 chapters of this book break down different aspects of those mental and emotional benefits, and what's really happening behind them, from the runner's high to addiction to community to moving through pain. So in chapter 1, we look at the runner's high and the real purpose behind it, which is not just to enjoy running. And it also looks back at human evolution and the chemical reaction in the brain. So that just, anything with the brain, as in SLP, but also with stress management, looking back at how the brain has evolved and then looking at the chemical reactions that are going on within it, it's just that right there draws me in. So chapter 2 looks at addiction and how exercise has been shown to help in recovery, as well as how it has some similarities to the addictions themselves at that brain chemical level without the negative components. In chapter 3, we get to explore group fitness and community and how these tools can help build connection and keep you moving, but also keep you thriving. Chapter 4 looks at how movement can be wired in the brain, how your brain remembers movement, and how it can help in healing and reducing the limitation of some degenerative diseases, even if only for a moment, which again, as in SLP and studying the brain, this was just amazing to read. Chapter 5 explores using movement to help with obstacles that we face in life and how we can how it can help with our mental and emotional growth, pushing through these obstacles or finding ways to do it, often with the help of others through movement. And so it looks at some of those physical obstacles that sometimes cause mental challenges or cause depression or things like this, and how movement can help with that. Chapter 6 focuses on movement in nature and the deeper connection that can be felt from being in green space and moving and breathing there, and how this shows up in our brain functioning and in our mood. And the final chapter, number 7, looks at ultra endurance athletes, whoa, and the ability for movement to change lives, as well as to build those deeper connections that help you to endure. So The Joy of Movement, this one right here, helps to explore the other side of movement that we often neglect or overlook. So it's not that physical part that we hear about a lot, which yes is crucial and yes is important, but it's the other side. The pieces that can help us emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, to help reduce our stress, to help thrive in our lives. And it shares the stories of people while also looking at the research, the science, and explains how this is happening in the body and brain, as well as how humans have evolved to move and to thrive from it. So I highly recommend this book to anyone who loves movement or who is looking to find more joy in the movement they're doing, who wants to move more, or who just wants more joy in their lives in any way. And as someone who often teaches and uses and coaches about mindful movement, this book helps solidify how truly important movement is for overall well-being and for managing and reducing stress. So if you can, pick up a copy of Joy of Movement. I got my copy from the library, so I've got to return it soon, but it's one that I would have been very happy with if I had purchased it. So head over, purchase it where you can, pick it up from the library, but just read it, find joy in it, move, experience some of these stories, and let me know what you think. Now, if you've read this book before, or if you have some sort of story about moving and joy, or you're trying to find some joy in your movement, share it in the comments below. Or send me a message, direct message over on Instagram at Jessie Andrix, or email me, jessie@jessieandrix.com, and let's share the joy of movement together. Thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you next time. Bye.